This video is sponsored by NordVPN. When it comes to your functional training, I believe that variety is absolutely key. That means variety in the types of movement that you're using, but it also means variety in the tempo, the speed of those movements. This is what tempo training refers to. Essentially, you're going to be focusing on the speed of your lifts. Whereas most of us might not give much thought to how fast we're bench pressing, curling, or squatting, when you perform tempo training, you're going to really put a focus and emphasis on that aspect of your training. For many people, tempo training simply means going much slower, because most of us, when we don't give it much thought, tend to lift quite quickly, because this is easier typically. Therefore, tempo training is generally synonymous with lifting more slowly. This has a very unique form of notation. Normally this will be written as 4 different numbers. The first number being the speed of the eccentric portion of the movement, so lowering the weight, stretching the muscle. The next number is going to be how long you pause at the bottom of the rep. The next number is going to be how quickly you lift the weight, that being the concentric portion, and then the final number is how long you pause at the top, and then you repeat. But the correct question to now be asking is, what's the point of going slowly? What does this do to benefit you? Well, first of all, lifting weights much more slowly will potentially increase hypertrophy, help you to build muscle faster. This is because you're increasing your total time under tension, spending more time contracting against resistance. Mechanical tension on its own has been shown to trigger protein synthesis, meaning that even in the absence of increased testosterone or muscle damage, simply spending more time under tension will increase muscle growth, potentially. So by going slowly, you can increase time under tension, potentially increase hypertrophy as well. This might also create a hypoxic environment, creating metabolic stress, and this could also help you to engage more fast-twitch muscle fibers potentially, as they're anaerobic and need less oxygen. If you've hit a plateau and aesthetics are important to you, then going a bit more slowly might just be what you're looking for. Another thing this does is it forces you to control the movement all the way through the repetition. So if you're used to exploding up out of the squat, then you might find that what you're actually doing is allowing momentum to carry you a lot of the way, so that you're not actually required to put that much effort in. At the same time, if you're just dropping down, then you're not really doing anything either. If you control the movement and move up extremely slowly, like so, and move down extremely slowly, then you're forced to control yourself and to develop power and strength at every point in the strength curve. But what I find even more interesting about this is that moving slowly allows you to focus all your efforts on your slow twitch muscle fiber. The reason for this is that fast twitch muscle fiber isn't capable of moving something slowly. The motor units containing the fast twitch muscle fiber are so big and powerful that they represent a large step change in force. If you were to try and lift a spoon to your mouth using fast twitch muscle fiber, you'd smack yourself in the face. Conversely, the slower twitch muscle fibers allow you to add just that little bit of extra force to gradually move something towards you or away from you. This is why it's so much harder to move something heavy slowly. So, if I take this 20 kilogram dumbbell and I try and slowly curl it, you're going to see that I really struggle and have to put in a whole lot of effort. Conversely, if I do it quickly, then that's much easier because I can explode through the movement. By the way, guys, you might have noticed that I'm coming to you from a different location this time around, that being my own office. Ta-da! This is the Biolab 3.0. I've just moved in here out of the small room in my family home because my baby is now too big to sleep with us in our room and he needs his own space, so I've moved out into here. I'm sad to be away from the house, but I think it's exciting times for the channel and hopefully it's going to result in more high quality content for you guys. And of course, one of the first things I had to do moving in here was to set up internet, and part of that means using my VPN, NordVPN, who are the sponsors of this video. So NordVPN is a must for anyone who's serious about being productive online, for being creative online, because it helps protect your data. So for those who aren't familiar, a VPN is a virtual private network. What it means is you're rerouting your traffic via a server located somewhere else. So instead of connecting directly to websites, you connect to that server, the server connects to the website, and then it relays all that information back to you. That means that the website never sees your IP address, doesn't know you're browsing it, and at the same time your ISP doesn't know which websites you're visiting. They can't see that either, because as far as they're concerned, you're only visiting the server. Not only does this help protect your data and keep everything safer, which is an absolute must, especially if you work online, but it also allows you to do a number of other things, such as spoofing your location so that you can pretend you're coming from another country. And this of course is great for accessing region-locked content from sites like Netflix, from Prime Videos, etc. And NordVPN is the fastest available, as shown by the most recent speed tests. Viewers of this channel can get access to an exclusive deal by going to nordvpn.com/thebioneer today. And that also comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so there's no risk at all. Just doing the kind of normal stuff people do in an office, I guess. The next question, of course, is why would you want to target your slow twitch muscle fiber? And there are a few good reasons for that. Slow twitch muscle fiber, although it produces less force than fast twitch muscle fiber, it also takes up less space than fast twitch muscle fiber. And what this means is per square inch, a bundle of slow twitch fibers will produce roughly the same amount of force as 1 or 2 fast twitch fibers. At the same time, although their max power output isn't as high as fast twitch fiber, you actually don't utilize your maximum power output for most activities, including even sprinting a lot of the time. And this actually means that slow twitch fiber can contribute perfectly fine to all sorts of athletic pursuits, so we shouldn't really just be ignoring it. Pavel Tsatsouline actually has a great article on this, which if I remember, I'll link to in the description down below. And he cites one study by a guy called Saluyinov, hopefully I've said that right, definitely not, that showed that experienced lifters could increase their 1 rep maximum on the squat over the course of just 6 weeks by 25.6%. And how do they do this? By using a slower tempo, and this makes sense when you put it in the context that we've just discussed here. And training your slow twitch fiber will give you that control and that finesse and that ability to slowly move your body through space or slowly move an object through space that you actually need in a lot of scenarios. We don't just want brute power, we want fine control, mixed with brute power. At the other end of the spectrum, of course, you have speed training, which was famously used by Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee would take his barbell and do a regular workout of curls and compound movements, but he'd try and complete the workout as quickly as possible by performing all the movements as quickly as possible. I'm not going to talk about this in as much detail because it's something that we're all more familiar with. There are multiple protocols that involve training more quickly, such as plyometric training, ballistic training, even compensatory acceleration, but all of these things allow us to develop a greater neural drive for exploding through movements, and this can translate to faster running, better punching, sprinting, jumping, etc. And not necessarily by adding more muscle, but by recruiting more of the fast twitch motor units that are within that muscle. And of course, by building fast twitch muscle fiber, you will potentially add more size because that's the thicker and stronger muscle. So how should you implement this? What can you do with all this information? Well, the first thing is simply to be more mindful of your tempo when you're training. For a lot of people, that's going to mean really slowing down the eccentric portion and exploding through the concentric. That's something that a lot of people use. Another option, of course, is just to go more slowly through both portions of the movement, eccentric and concentric, and we've just discussed all the many benefits of doing this. The most extreme expression of this is the quasi-isometric, where you can take up to a minute or even more to perform a single repetition. Just try it out, go more slowly. I think you'll be surprised at how this affects you and how you feel it the next day. There are many other protocols you can use, but there's one in particular that I've been using for a long time, and as far as I'm aware, I made it up. I actually started doing this intuitively when I first started working out, and I think it helped me to gain a lot of strength and size really quickly, and it's not something I've really heard other people mention. I used to call it time division. I think that's actually a bit of a lame name, so I'm redubbing it time manipulation training, which I think sounds a lot cooler. The idea here is simply to alter and vary your tempo, but within a single set. So for example, you might perform as many really slow repetitions as you can, and then when you're at the point of failure, switch to really fast repetitions just to pump out an extra 5, 6, 7, 8. So aside from just being interesting and varied, this also forces you to use a kind of dynamic, changing level of exertion, something that you would have to do in real life. In real life, we don't just perform something at the same level over and over and over again. We might do something slowly and then something quickly and then switch again. More to the point though, this might, and I say might, allow you to tap into your fast twitch muscle fiber and increase your neural drive that way. Because as we know from Henneman's size principle, we won't be able to use those really big, fast motor units because the amount of resistance in something like a push-up isn't enough. But if you first perform as many really slow repetitions as you can, targeting those slow twitch fibers, what you're going to do is going to fatigue them and take them out of the running. Now, when you perform those same movements, you're only going to have the fast twitch muscle fiber to recruit, and because you're trying to go explosively, you're calling on those very same motor units and muscle fibers. And of course the opposite is also true, so if you do lots of really fast repetitions and then move on to slow ones, then you've fatigued all the larger motor units, so again you're forcing yourself to call upon those slower twitch motor units. You're giving yourself this more complete control over your strength. For me this has been really powerful. I'd love to know if you guys experiment with it, how you find it, so let me know in the comments down below. Come back here and tell me about it if you experiment with this time manipulation training. I just want to say a huge thank you once again to Anytime Fitness in Bicester who let me film there. They're so accommodating and just the nicest bunch of people. It's also a fantastic gym, so as I said before, if you're in Bicester, check them out. If you like this kind of training, then my ebook and training program Super Functional Training 2.0 includes a lot of different tempos as well as a range of other different training styles, all combined into a single program to give you that all-round and complete performance. That comes with over 2 hours of video tutorial, an 80+ page ebook, and lots of bonus extras as well, so I'll put a link to that in the description down below. Subscribe if you want to see more like this, hit the bell button if you want to be notified of future uploads. Either way, once again, thank you so much for watching this one, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.